Hi everybody, this is TJ with Catapult Trader. Today I want to talk a little bit about the initial stop placement on entries and discuss a few things that can happen and some remedies. This is a topic I had hoped to cover during the boot camp. We simply ran out of time, so I figured I would just do a supplementary training video, which is what this is, and I will talk to you about stop placement when first putting on a trade. Let me show you a few examples of what I'm talking about. So one question that comes up sometimes is the question of why a trade seemingly gets canceled. And I want to talk to you about this. This situation is fairly common. You would never see this with a range bar, but you can see it with a time-based chart or a tick chart. This, of course, is a time-based chart. It's a 5-minute bar. So this was a setup from last night's session. And you can see that the bar came up and hit the entry, continued to go up. But why does it look like it was canceled? Why are all these bars gray and not green? And the simple answer is, if you look closely at the bar that triggers in, it touched the stop and the entry before the bar closed. And so the calculator is based on the bar closing. It has no way of knowing what happened first, whether it hit the stop, whether it hit the entry first or second. Maybe it hit the entry, then the stop, then the entry. Maybe it went back up and down, back and forth, up and down. It just doesn't know. So when a bar touches the entry and the stop at the same time, it's going to assume that it stopped out. Now, in reality, this didn't stop out because it had opened up down here below after this bar had closed, and then it moved up, hit the entry, and kept on going. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know it because I was in that trade and I took that trade. If you're backtesting and you don't know and you want to discover why, or you want to discover what happened first, because you want to know if it came to the entry and then stopped out, you would include that as a losing trade, right? You want to backtest accurately and correctly. So as I showed in the boot camp, you can open up a 1-minute chart. Let me demonstrate this one more time so that you can see a good way to verify what happened first, what happened second. Is it a valid setup if you are not there live to witness it? Okay, I've put on a 1-minute chart, and I can come up here to trade tracking and choose workspace, and then I can click on the setup bar here, and that's going to move this chart to the same time. Then I'll turn trade tracking off. Maybe move this over a little so I could see it. So the setup bar happens right at 1800, and this is right at 1800. So the next thing I will do is I'll lay a horizontal line at the stop and at the entry. So the stop is at 2732, right there. And the entry is at 2735, right up here. So I could see that what happened was the price came down and touched the stop, and then later came up and hit the entry. Now, did it come back down and stop out, or did it keep on going up to its targets? In this case, it kept on going up. So that tells me that this trade here on the 5-minute chart was a valid trade. It hit the entry and kept on going. You have to remember that the strategy exists beyond the dots on the chart. The tools, the calculator, the indicators, well, they're just tools. The calculator, the indicators, the dots on the chart, those are tools to help us trade the strategy. But the strategy exists beyond the tools, and the tools are not perfect. In this case, it does not know what happened first, the stop or the entry. And so the bar remains gray, and you may think that wasn't an actual valid trade, but it was. All right? So I'm going to now talk to you about another important aspect to setting your stops at the beginning of a trade when the trade first sets up. But I'm going to do that on the next video.